Okay, what is up YouTube? HPJ here, and I come at you guys this week, of course, got my favorite archetype in deck running around, and it's time for it to show its appearance on my channel. So, we have a deck profile for the Harpies, in celebration, of course, of the release of Harpies Feather Duster, that is now no longer forbidden on the list, as well as the TCG's release of Cyber Slash Harpie Lady, who on certain platforms is not, censored. So yeah. Um this is pretty much my standard build. Um the crazy thing about this before I go into the deck list itself is that I am testing out the combo with Dragunities. It's just I'm not liking it. It's very just it's a lot of things, but I'm not no hate to anyone who is doing the Dragoonity build. More power to you. So, with all that out of the way, while we go into the deck itself, we're starting off with 3 copies of Harpie Perfumer and 3 copies of Harpie Channeler, 3 copies of Harpies, 3 copies of Harpie Lady 1, 2 copies of Oracle, 1 Queen, 1 Dancer, 1 Harpie Lady Sisters, 1 Miss Valley Apex Avian, 1 Miss Valley Thunderbird, 1 Barrier Statue of the Stormwind. Then for spell cards, triple sign, triple egotist, double hunting ground, double mirror split, 1 feather rest, 1 feather duster in double droplet. Then triple feather storm in triple party, which rounds out the trap cards. And then that pretty much rounds out the main deck. For the extra deck, the 2 copies of Cyber Slash Harpie Lady, 2 copies of Harpie Conductor, 1 copy of Union Carrier, 1 copy of Samore, Bird of Sovereignty, 1 copy of Tri-Brigade Shriek, the Wicked Wings, 1 copy of Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon, 1 copy of Lightning Chidori, 1 copy of Castell, 1 copy of HP Zero Fine, 1 Utopia, Utopia Ray, Utopia the Lightning, and Double A Zeus. And that pretty much just rounds out my main and extra deck. So, the thing about Harpies right now is that if you're looking at Harpie decks, everyone is building their variation to help them go into some more Avian Thunderbird lock. Which of course implies you have Miss Valley Ape, you have Barry, you have some more Bird of Divinities on Bird of Sovereignty on the board. Then you either have Miss Valley Apex Avian, who has the Union Carrier on the field next to it on the field with Miss Valley Thunderbird attached to either Avian or no, attached to Samorg. And whenever Avian activates, you can bounce back the Thunderbird, and then the Thunderbird will special summon itself. Then that creates the loop where you can negate tons of things thanks to Thunderbird, and then it just forces your opponent to sit there and hurt, because every time Thunderbird goes back to the hand, it's going to start to summon itself again, and there's your loop. Or you can just hate on them even more and drop this Barrier Statue of Stormwinds, because most decks are not playing Wind. Although most people are testing Wind Witch, so that's kind of the only downside, is Harpie versus Wind Witch. Wind Witch is going to try to accelerate, and the Barrier Statue is not going to really help. Now, with a lot of that in mind, primarily most of the deck itself is going to be centered around your Harpie engine. 2 of your biggest components are these 2 lovely ladies right here, Harpie Channeler and Harpie Perfumer. Channeler, discarding a Harpie card from your hand, says summon a Harpie monster from your deck, while Harpie Perfumer says whenever she's normal or special summon, you can add spells and trap cards from your deck to your hand that specifically lists Harpie Lady Sisters in this deck. And if you control level 5 or higher, you can add an additional, but can't share the same name. So the thing with this is that you fetch for Elegant Egotist, so you can speed your summons up, and then go into cards like Cyber Slash Harpie Lady. You set up for Hysteric Party setups. You have a lot of things you can set up thanks to Chandler and Perfumer. And there is literally why those 2 are sequentially the most needed monsters, and they're your most There are your most needed monsters. If you're ever building Harpies, and anyone that's new to Harpies, these are pretty much the two cards you need to go for: Perfumer and Channeler. Harpie Harpist. This is your searcher. She searches for Perfumer. She can search for Channeler. She searches for Harp, Oracle, Dancer, Harpie Lady 1. That's all on an in-phase effect that, as long as she's in the graveyard because she was sent there to turn, you get that level 4 winged beast with 15 or less attack. And she's a great discard target for Channeler. She's a great discard target for Hysteric Party. She just has a lot of things flowing for herself. Then we have our girl Harpie Lady 1. You can run Cyber Harpie. You can run Vanilla Harpie Lady. I'm just running Harpie Lady 1 because for me, I like the additional attack buff. I like the additional, stand where Harpie Lady 1 is. I really don't have much else to really say. She is your big elegant Aegis. She is one of your elegant Aegis targets if you don't run Harpie Lady Sisters. And I have seen a lot of people drop the number of Egotists based on the number of Harpie Ladies that they're playing. And also to remember, Perfumer and Oracle can help extend things as well. So, yeah, that's pretty much the gist of Harpie Lady 1. Then, 2 copies of Harpie Oracle. Harpie Oracle an extender. When you have that level 5 or higher Harpie, such as summon her to the field. If she's no longer special, you can, during your end phase, you can add a spell or trap that lists Harpie Lady Sisters and its attacks from your graveyard to your hand during the end phase of that turn. So recovery, such as summon, great additions on the Oracle, and it helps with especially Perfumer and Channeler, who are, things can easily happen. At least you have the recovery things to them. Then I'm only running 1 copy of Harpie Dancer because there really isn't much back row. Dancer is primarily here just to extend things. She does combo well with cards like Harpie Conductor and Cyber Slash because of her ability, so that can get things going. 1 Queen, Queen is very weird. Most people are not running Queen. There are people who are running 1, and there's people who are running 2. I'm going to run the 1 because I am still relying on the monster I'll talk about after I talk about Harpie Queen. But Queen, for the most part, sets up for hunting grounds. Sets up for a party. She sets up for alluring. She sets up for feather rest. So she has things she still does. She's just not as dominant as she used to be because there's Oracle and Perfumer. So, yeah. Then we have Harpie Lady Sister. So I'm only running 1 sister. And the reason why is because you don't want to see this. You want this as your elegant egotist target. And the thing about it is most people fret when they see dragon or sister. Well, they mainly fret when they see sisters because you can still at least summon dragon without restrictions. Sisters, on the other hand, you gotta use egotists first. And that's mainly why she's here, is because she's an elegant egotist target. And a great extender, you have your monsters who say, if you have your cards that say, hey, that level 5 or higher Harpie monsters on the board, you can do more actions. And that's where Sisters comes in, because that's double search for Perfumer, that's accessible summon off Oracle. You have Feather Rest with additional double draw. So you have things in range. It's just, you don't need the multiple sisters to do such, and sisters can come in handy for that. It's all about that nooch. That's where sisters come in, for that nooch. I've already talked about the barrier statue combo, so we can go on to the spells with triple hysteric sign. This is a big search for your Harpie deck. Adding those 3 stellar traps in monsters that specifically lists Harpie Lady in its name from your deck to your hand. It also, when activated, can add elegant egotists from your graveyard deck to your hand as well. But remember, you can only use 1 effect per turn, only once that turn. So pick wisely. However, because of a lot of the things that Harpies can set up with, you can set this, blow up your own reserves, and then go get your Harpie cards. Primarily now, because you have access to practically every Harpie card in the game. You have Perfumer and Oracle that searches requires to have sister in its text that don't have Harpie in its name. And then you have Hysteric Sign that can search for Harpie cards and add them to your hand. Triple Elegant Egotist, with my primary targets being Harpie Lady 1 and Harpie Lady Sisters. It's just to help extend the swarm of the board. You can recycle this, you can retrieve this. As long as you can get multiple Harpies onto the board, you're perfectly fine. Double Hunting Ground, because it is a staple for Harpies, especially because you have your own spells and traps you can easily blow up. Then you have Alluring Mirror Split, where you're not using this really for the battle effect. You're using this for a secondary, which is to pop it with a Harpy effect, and then special summon a Harpy monster from your graveyard to the board. So look at your range of cards. You kind of get the picture there. Then we have, of course, Harpies Feather Us to be a bit of a pot of avarice and just recover back your main pieces, primarily your Harpy Channeler and Perfumer, if anything, or your Harpy Lady 1. Then, of course, Harpie's Feather Duster. It's back and it's being used. You have Hunting Ground, you have Hysteric Sign in Harpie's Feather Storm to help you search for it. This is pretty much just a big win for Harpies because we finally have Duster back. And then I splashed in some Forbidden Droplets. In my physical build, I don't own this card. So I'm using stuff like Raigeki and Monster Reborn. It sounds basic, I know, but if you can't afford certain things, digital is the best way to go. And if all out fails, just use what you got. So alright. That's mainly it for the spells. In terms of the trap cards, you have Feather Storm, your big hand trap. Negate your opponent's monster effects on activation. If you have a Harpy monster, you can play it from your hand. And if it's destroyed by your opponent's card effects while in the spell trap card zone, you can go retrieve Duster from the grave or from the deck. Then you have Party for your big swarm. I know most people are probably running 1 or 2. I'm still running the 3rd. So, no problems with it. Honestly, I enjoy it. So, hey, it is what it is. Alright, going on to the extra deck, we got the big girl herself, Cyber Slash Harpie Lady. Our other high-level Harpy monster, comboing with both Oracle and Perfumer. She has her quick effect to remove a monster on the field. You got a lot of good things going on with this monster. She doesn't negate, but she can disrupt. And if you can disrupt, that is, for me, that's just as good. So, alright, we move on from the big lady and we go on to the conductor, who plays the offense and defensive game well. Blowing up your own spells and trap cards to protect your Harpy monster from being destroyed by card effects or right battle. Then whenever whenever an effect is to return a Harpy monster from back to your hand, she can trigger to return a special summon monster your opponent controls back to their hand. So you combo this easily with the effects of Harpist or Perfumer. Harpist or Dancer, if you want to get the full stretch. The Union Carriers to help with some more Glock, as well as some more being able to bring Winged Beasts onto the field during the end phase, based on the number of spell and trap card zones that are unused. Not to mention, this bird has anything that it's linked to, that is Winged Beast, cannot be destroyed by battle. Cannot be targeted by card effect. So yeah, you got some very big advantages with Big Bird. Speaking of big birds, we also have Tri Brigade Shriek the Wicked Wings. This is just another big boss monster for the extra deck that Harpies can take advantage of, especially because it can banish. So take advantage of that as you will. Moving on to the XCs, we have Phantasmal Dragon for the direct attack. Great offensive defensive plays with the Harpy archetype. For removal, Castell and Lightning Chidori, because they're still great. 0-5 for the Massive White Negate. The Utopia package, which I go for Utopia Ray into Lightning, so I have Lightning have the chance to strike twice. And then when all else fails, AA Zeus for the massive board wipe. And this card's going to be really expensive when it comes to TCG. Because, wow, this is an amazing effect. Not going to lie. If you can get at least one, go for it. It's worth it. So, that's pretty much it for just destinations and the deck profile itself. If anything, everything else in the side deck is just, hand traps if you need them. Dragunity build. Falagetti because she's cute, but she can be very destructive. And an extra some more if you want to play it. But yeah, that pretty much just wraps out the deck profile itself, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys can be informed of when I do upload more content. And my social media links are in the description box below. Thanks, everybody, and HBJ signing out. Take care.